Hey everybody, Mayor Houck here with a few thoughts regarding the current events that have unfolded over the past 2 weeks here in our great country. Much of what I'm about to say was said last night during our council meeting, but I just wanted to take a moment and reiterate them for anyone that was not in attendance and for our neighboring communities. First, let me say I cannot begin to say that I understand what it is like to live as a black man or woman in this country. I have never walked a mile in his shoes nor a foot. I will not pretend to understand the day-to-day experiences, the injustices, the racial bias, the struggles, or the slights. I will not compare another experience of my own to their very own experiences. What I will do is listen. I will hear their stories, listen to their cries, and echo their voice for justice. I stand with the community in calling for the justice in George Floyd's murder. My years at St. Joseph's University have taught me two things. One, that our criminal justice system is incredibly flawed and has been so for many years. It's a system that disproportionately favors white, middle to upper class, and oppresses the black community. Before anyone challenges me on these statements, I ask that you spend a couple years studying this very topic. And by no means is this a shot at our police department here in Haddon Heights. Through some great leadership, we are quite fortunate to have an incredible police department that embodies community policing. Second, but most importantly, SJU taught me to embody the Jesuit ideals, precisely the ideal of men and women with and for others. This value means standing with the marginalized and pursuing justice on behalf of all persons. What occurred on the street corner in Minneapolis on May 25th is reprehensible. However, it's not the first time this has happened, nor will it unfortunately be the last. This is something that has played out repeatedly and not, though, always in plain sight, is still an injustice. The nearly 9 minutes that officer knelt on George Floyd's neck is a clear showing of the disregard for human life and the morals that govern our society. Just as disturbing are the three officers' actions or inactions. And quoting the British philosopher John Stuart Mill, "Let not anyone pacify his conscience by the delusion that he can do no harm. If he takes no part and forms no opinion, bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing." I'm happy to hear that as of yesterday, all three of those officers who stood by quietly doing nothing are now charged in the murder of George Floyd. I had a conversation earlier this week with Police Chief Scardino on that the hardest thing for anyone and any one of his officers is going to be to confront one's peers. However, we must do just that. Now more than ever, we must be strong enough to step off from the sideline and condemn racism, bigotry, and injustice. And let me be clear, this is not about choosing citizens over police, and no clarification is needed. I assume that if you believe Black Lives Matter, you stand not against the police, but against injustice, racism, bigotry, and anyone who casts aside our constitutional doctrine that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. To close, I ask our community to do in part in fighting racism and injustice in our community. I ask that you stand side by side calling for justice and equality. I ask that you listen to each other empathetically and wholly and refrain from turning every statement by one another into an argument of opposing viewpoints. Give each other the benefit of the doubt. And be men and women with and for others. Thank you. God bless. Take care.